Welcome everyone to Cannabis News with Joe Klare, June 22nd, 2018, of course presented by the Marijuana Times. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. A lot of great articles from a lot of great writers over there at marijuanatimes.org, including myself. You can also click the video tab to get all the episodes of Cannabis News with Joe Klare, which is me. Check that out. We're also on Vimeo. You can search us on Vimeo. You can go to vimeo.com/marijuanatimesx. You can also search the Marijuana Times on Apple Podcasts if you want the audio-only version of the show. For those of you on the go, those of you who don't need the video for whatever reason, it's the same amount of, same amount of information. You're just doing any of the visuals. If there's, charts and stuff to look at, you don't get to see that. If I play a video, you don't get to see that. Well, you understand what audio only is. I'm sitting here explaining it to you. Move on, Joe. I will. Today, we're talking about the senators from the Senate Appropriations Committee and how they voted on a bill that would have made it easier for marijuana businesses to do business with banks. We'll also talk about something we talked about maybe last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm not quite sure. It's recently, in the last few weeks. One of the U.S. senators from Oklahoma and his feelings about cannabis and where those feelings come from and what the consequences of those feelings may be. Also, if you've watched this show for a considerable period of time, we talk a lot about Florida, specifically the medical marijuana implementation in Florida, which is, it would be an understatement to say that it's just some bumps. There's been some speed bumps. There's been some roadblocks. There's been some detours. There's been some problems when it comes to Florida and getting medical marijuana fully implemented, regulated, all of that stuff. Talk about all of that, but first, of course, Cannabis News brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com. Check out their organic, all-natural pesticides. If you're in a state where it's legal to cultivate cannabis, you're going to have to be regulatory compliant. You don't want to use harmful chemicals on your grows. You want to be safe and grow safe and poison-free. You can do that with Natureside, nature-side.com. CIDE is how you spell side, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. This first story by Jason Sander over at marijuanatimes.org. Senators voted against amendment allowing cannabis businesses to open bank accounts. It's an issue we've talked about quite a bit on this show. There was an amendment that would have protected financial institutions from federal prosecutions. It probably would have done a great deal to alleviate some of the issues that cannabis entrepreneurs and business owners face when it comes to working with the banking industry. But senators in the Senate Appropriations Committee blocked the amendment by a 21-10 vote. Tables the amendment. The decision tables the amendment. It could be brought back up at a later date. Senator Jeff Merkley, a Democrat from Oregon, sponsored the measure, claiming the current regulations facilitate criminal activity. He said, quote, cash-only businesses are a big problem because it's great for organized crime. It's great for money laundering. It's great for theft and larceny. It's great for cheating on taxes. It's great for cheating on your payroll, Senator Merkley said. We're really facilitating crime by not enabling the banking industry to provide basic services. I don't know about all that. I do know that businesses carrying around large amounts of cash and criminals knowing that businesses are carrying around large amounts of cash, that attracts a certain element of people, the type of people who want to take that money. And the type of people who want to take that money are willing to use pretty much any level of violence to get that money. And there's a reason that everybody puts their money in banks and then businesses just don't, have just big trucks full of money rolling around or big safes in their business, just stuffed with cash. It's not a safe thing to do. And why that would be such a problem, I don't know. But apparently the Republicans thought so in that committee, and a ton of Democrats thought so as well. 21-10, that's not even close. Not even close. I don't know. Why? What is the benefit? What is the benefit of having businesses have cash everywhere? Well, who does that help? What benefit is that to anyone along any part of the supply chain, any way along the line? How does that benefit anyone? It's ridiculous. You want to know what else is ridiculous? This next story from MarijuanaMoment.net. Now, I said earlier, Oklahoma Senator James Lankford. We've talked about him before. It was a few weeks ago, somewhere in there. I'm not sure the exact date. We talked about his ignorance when it comes to marijuana. He's apparently continuing with that, and he's decided he's going to become very vocal about his ignorance with marijuana. It's one thing to be ignorant about it. It's another thing to say, hey, I'm going to broadcast this as much as possible. But of course, he's been out there talking because his home state of Oklahoma has voted on medical marijuana on June 26th. He's trying to do whatever he can to stop that. He said, quote, this is from an interview last week, marijuana is not used for anyone on chronic pain other than just getting high and to escape from the pain. Now, the sad thing about this, there's a few sad things about it, obviously, but first of all, if Senator Lankford or one of a close relative needed medical marijuana for any one of the many, many ailments that it treats, he would see things differently. But it's sad that it would take that for him to change his mind. Any kind of independent thinking, any kind of researching, any kind of looking into the issue would show him that that's not really true. Not only for pain, but for a host of other ailments. He has no firsthand experience. So he goes by what he's been told. And that's weak sauce, as the kids say. That is weak sauce. That is not independent thinking. That is not critical thinking. That is not looking at an issue and deciding on your own through extensive research what the right answer is. It's just, some people told me that it's bad and people only want to get high. There's really no medical benefit to it. So that's what I'm going with, and that's what I'm going to say in an effort to not allow people in Oklahoma who may need marijuana to have it because I don't believe in it. Which, by the way, even if that were true, even if people were just using it to get high all the time, it shouldn't matter because they are not infringing on the rights of anyone else. But it's not true. So there's even less reason to infringe on the rights of marijuana users because they're not infringing on anyone else's rights. Anyway, Oklahoma, a lot of polls have indicated that it's going to pass. A few days away. If you're in Oklahoma, well, I hate to sound like a cliche, but if you support it and you want it to pass, well, you should probably vote for it. No, I think that's how it works. See, I've done research. Voting. You vote on things, they pass. They generally become law. Not always. I mean, there's some problems, and the legislature will probably get in there and, tweak it as a favorite term of lawmakers. I'm just going to tweak the law, the ballot measure, just a little bit. This last story is from HeraldTribune.com, and a Tallahassee judge rips Florida agency for medical marijuana use. It's not really a good title. It makes it sound like the agency was using medical marijuana, and this judge ripped them for that. That is not the case. Accusing Florida health officials of a colossal blunder that created a dumpster fire, administrative law judge recommended that the state grant a highly sought-after medical marijuana license to a South Florida nursery. Judge John Van Landingham's recommended order scalded the state Office of Medical Marijuana Use for using a flawed system to decide which applicants should receive the coveted licenses. Basically, he really, in a 116-page decision, lit into the agency that's supposed to be overseeing. An agency we talked about a lot here on this. The Christian Backs dude is the head. They made all kinds of problems. They weren't responding to a legislative committee that oversees them. There's just been delay upon delay upon delay upon lawsuit upon delay upon lawsuit. This judge just goes on and on saying pretty much it's really, all the articles as always are linked in the description, the articles I talk about. It's really, really long article. It's a really long article because there's so much that he has to say against them. And they pretty much just put it all in the article. It just goes on and on. He basically just says they suck at their job. The way they allocated the licenses is wrong. It was wrong from the start. And the people of Florida, they wait. There's a few dispensaries. There's more and more patients. I think it's something like 5,000 new patients every week. The patient rolls are filling up. But they're having a problem with the sales aspect. Again, those regulations actually toward a point where they started giving more licenses and getting more supply, and just the lawsuits are numerous. This is just one of many. Cases are making their way through the courts in Florida. The smoking ban is still being battled. I don't know. It's not going well. The Office of Medical Marijuana Use in Florida has not been doing their job. I've said that before, and I have no problem saying that again because it's true. They're not on the ball. This is their job. Writing regulations, issuing licenses. That's what they're supposed to be doing. They can't do that you can't do your actual job, then, well, I would say someone else is going to have to do it, but there's no one else. There's no competing government of Florida, state government of Florida, state government of Florida 2. You just can't go to them and say, well, you guys do this. That's it. The buck stops at the Florida government. That's it. They have to do it. They can't go to Georgia and say, hey, Georgia, could you do this? We're having trouble. We're having real problems. Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, can you send some boats over here? Can you send some people to tell us what's going on and help us with this? I don't know. It's not going well. We're going to chronicle all of that and more every week here at Cannabis News. We're here 5 days a week. It's the end of another great week. Your weekend can start. Please go have fun. We'll see you back here next week on Cannabis News. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com for being a proud sponsor of the show. Check us out on marijuanatimes.org. Click that video tab. Search us on Vimeo, vimeo.com/marijuanatimesx. Share, like, all that stuff you do with videos on your social media networks. And we'll see you next week here on Cannabis News.